Chosen one, your kindness just saved a billionaire, and God is rewarding you. You had no idea who they really were. In a moment that seemed ordinary, you chose compassion over convenience, love over logic. You gave without expecting anything in return, not knowing that the person you helped was no ordinary soul, but a billionaire in disguise, a titan in crisis, a giant wrapped in human vulnerability. Yet what you couldn't see with your natural eyes, heaven saw with perfect clarity. That act, simple, sincere, and unseen by the world, was recorded in the divine realm, and it shifted something in your destiny. The universe didn't just take notice, it moved. Because when a chosen one moves in love, when you bless without agenda, when you serve without expectation, you become the vessel through which divine reversals happen. God is not ignoring you, heaven is not late. The harvest is already growing, and now the blessing, the breakthrough, the miracle, tailor-made for you is coming swiftly, because kindness has a power money can't buy, and love has a currency that always returns multiplied. Your kindness was not randomite, it was a divine seed sown in spirit. You must understand this, chosen one. Nothing you did was random. That moment when you stopped to help, to speak life, to give, to listen, or simply to extend your hand, heaven was watching. While the world may move on quickly, dismissing acts of compassion as insignificant, the laws of the Spirit never forget. What you thought was just an act of decency was actually a divine transaction. You sowed something into the unseen, into the fertile soil of eternity, and because you are chosen, that seed carried more weight than you can comprehend. You didn't just help someone, you released a code into the spiritual matrix that is now activating a sequence of divine rewards. Many walk past need, many ignore the cry of others, but you, who carry the frequency of heaven, recognize not the outer form of a person, but the inner cry of a soul. And that moment wasn't just about them, it was about you stepping into your higher calling, aligning with divine love, and revealing your true identity to the universe. The seed you sowed was not in money alone. It may have been time, it may have been energy, it may have been a simple word when someone was on the verge of collapse, but that seed, though unseen by man, was seen by God. The spirit realm responds not to outer appearances, but to inner motives. And because your motive was pure, because your act was birthed from compassion and not performance, you unlocked a law far more ancient than any system of man, the law of divine reciprocity. This law doesn't repay in equal, it multiplies. It doesn't respond in linear time, it flows from eternity. You sowed in a moment, but what is returning will echo through your lifetime. The person you helped may never thank you, they may never speak your name again, but their life, elevated by your kindness, sent a spiritual shockwave back toward you. You didn't just save a stranger, you activated your own season of blessing. And what's even more extraordinary, though you may not know it now, is that the person you helped carries weight in realms you've never entered. They are a billionaire, not merely in financial terms, but in influence, connection, and spiritual potential. Your kindness intercepted their moment of crisis. Your word or gesture became the bridge between their breakdown and their breakthrough. And in the orchestration of God's perfect timing, you were placed in that moment not by chance, but by divine design. You were the answer to their silent prayer. You were the one chosen to deliver hope at the precise second they were about to give up. That wasn't charity, that wasn't coincidence, that was kingdom work. And because God is just, he does not let kingdom work go unrewarded. He never overlooks a servant's hand extended in secret. You planted a seed that didn't just save someone's life. It also launched your destiny into acceleration. People around you may still see you the same, may still underestimate you, may still overlook you, but heaven doesn't. Heaven just promoted you. Heaven just upgraded your spiritual rank. You became a deliverer in disguise. And the reward is not coming from the one you helped, but from the one who sent you. You don't need to be paid back by man when your Father owns all things. The inheritance is already being released, not as a favor, but as a harvest. That seed of kindness you sowed is now speaking for you in rooms you've never entered. It's opening doors your hands never touched. It's causing angels to move on your behalf. You may feel like nothing has changed yet, but the delay is illusion. The shift has already occurred. The energy you released into the universe is now returning to you with compounded interest. The money you gave may have left your hand, but it never left your life. The comfort you provided may have ended the conversation, but it ignited a prophetic timeline. The love you extended may have looked small, but in God's economy it was a kingly offering. You must know this. Seeds sown in love never die. They germinate in silence, they grow in mystery, and then they blossom in public. Just because the reward hasn't appeared yet doesn't mean it isn't coming. Trees don't shout while growing roots. Neither does your miracle. Your kindness was a seed encoded with your name, your destiny, and your divine promise. And now it is attracting everything that is yours by inheritance. The resources, the favor, the protection, the revelation, the restoration, it's all linked to that one moment you chose love, and the fact that it was unnoticed by others, that's proof it was real. God hides the most powerful moments in simplicity. Don't regret the giving, don't question whether it was worth it, don't ask if it mattered, because the moment your spirit responded in love, the entire universe aligned to deliver what had been held back for you. You didn't just help a billionaire, you helped a soul, and when you touch a soul, you move the heavens. What is on its way to you now is not charity, it is covenant fulfillment. Your kindness was the test. You passed. Now the reward must come, and not just in money, but in opportunities you didn't ask for, favor you didn't apply for, rooms you didn't qualify for, and miracles you didn't expect. Why? Because God remembers what others forget. And your seed in the Spirit was too holy to go unnoticed. Get ready, chosen one. Your kindness has summoned your breakthrough. The billionaire you helped was the mirror of a higher self, state chosen one. What if I told you that the person you helped was never just a stranger in need, but a mirror, a living symbol of the greater version of yourself that God is calling forth? You saw a soul in crisis, someone lost, burdened, perhaps humiliated by a moment of weakness, but in that exact instant, heaven was allowing you to see yourself through prophetic reflection, not who you are now, but who you are becoming. That billionaire wasn't placed in your path so you could feel superior by offering help. No, that person was the spiritual manifestation of your future identity, cloaked in brokenness so your spirit could recognize something deeper than what the eyes can see. You responded not to their outer condition, but to the vibration of divine purpose radiating from within them. You didn't just help someone, you honored your own destiny, because the person you lifted was a representation of your next level, your coming elevation, your divine capacity for greatness. Everything in this universe functions through the law of correspondence. As above, so below, as within, so without. God doesn't teach through randomness, he teaches through reflection. That's why the people who cross your path are never without meaning. And when you encountered that individual, worn, desperate, disconnected, you were actually standing before an echo of your future, waiting for validation through love. You helped them in their low moment, not realizing that your future self would one day look back and say, that was me in disguise. For what you elevate in another, you awaken within yourself. When you see wealth and possibility in someone else's brokenness, you are commanding the same wealth and possibility to rise up inside your own spirit. The humility with which you served didn't demean you, it crowned you. The kindness you gave didn't lower your status, it aligned you with your higher self. The billionaire you helped may never know your name, but spiritually they unlocked a door for you to step into who you were always meant to be. You are not just a helper, you are a healer. You are not merely generous, you are prophetic. What you did may have looked ordinary, but in the spirit it was a holy moment of recognition. You looked past appearance, past status, past power, and you saw the person. That is what the divine looks for, the ability to see beyond the flesh into essence. The fact that this person was a billionaire is not coincidence. It is divine symmetry, because wealth recognizes wealth. Royalty recognizes royalty. Your spirit responded to theirs, not because they were needy, but because they carried the same spiritual DNA as you. You honored them, and in doing so, you honored the version of yourself that is walking toward you even now. The one who is abundant, the one who commands influence, the one who lives from overflow. You helped a billionaire because spiritually you are one. You must stop underestimating your acts of love. This encounter was not a test, it was a mirror. It revealed the spiritual posture of your heart. You passed the moment because you were not caught up in image. You were led by spirit. That is why the reward that is coming is not surface level, it is soul deep. It is life-changing, it is destiny shifting, because you aligned with your true identity in that act of compassion. You silenced the ego and let the divine self lead, and that divine self recognizes greatness, even when it looks broken, even when it's hidden, even when it's on the verge of collapse. That's what separates the chosen from the crowd. Anyone can honor power when it looks like power, but only the chosen can honor it when it looks like pain. Understand this. You didn't save the billionaire because they needed your money. You saved them because they needed your vibration. They were disconnected from their own light, and you, unaware, humble, aligned, became the spark that brought them back to life. That spark was not ordinary. It came from a higher state of awareness within you. You were operating from your spiritual throne without even realizing it, and the law of spiritual mirroring now requires that what you gave must return to you, not in imitation, but in divine multiplication. The wealth that is forming around your life is not only financial, it is energetic, relational, generational. Because you honored greatness in its moment of disguise, heaven is now uncovering the greatness hidden within you. Get ready for what you've never seen before, not because of luck, but because of law. This is why you must walk forward without fear. Do not worry about how or when your breakthrough will come. It's already been set in motion. You activated it when you looked into the eyes of someone the world called a stranger and saw a reflection of divine potential. You triggered a return far greater than the seed you gave. The same hand that reached down in love will now be lifted up in glory. The same spirit that humbled itself to serve will now be exalted to lead. The same heart that honored hidden royalty will now be crowned in its own divine timing. This is not reward, it is reflection. You are becoming what you honored, and the universe will not let your recognition go unrewarded. The billionaire you helped may never reappear in your life. They may not even know what truly happened. But you must understand, chosen one, the Spirit does, and the Spirit has already begun rearranging people, places, events, and opportunities to match what your act of kindness revealed. You are entering into a divine mirror, where what you see in others begins to manifest in yourself. You're not just becoming rich, you're becoming radiant. You're not just receiving back what you gave, you're receiving who you are. And because you are chosen, your reward is not just measured in time or money. It is measured in transformation. You didn't just help someone wealthy, you helped unlock your own wealth. You didn't just save someone powerful, you recognized your own power in the disguise of another. So walk boldly now, hold your head high. That wasn't a small moment. That was the key that opened the vault. That was the confirmation that your heart is ready for more. God trusted you with greatness hidden in crisis, and now God is trusting you with greatness revealed in destiny. The mirror is no longer distant, it is manifesting, and what you saw in them is now arising in you, because chosen ones never just give, they activate what they are destined to receive. God's reward operates by the law of inner correspondence, not outer logic, chosen one. The moment you acted in love, heaven responded, not according to the calculations of this world, but according to the eternal law of correspondence. You may not have received applause, you may not have been acknowledged, but the reward is still guaranteed, because the kingdom of God does not operate by outer logic, it moves by inner alignment. In a world obsessed with transactions and surface-level exchanges, you did something counter-cultural. You gave from the soul. You responded not out of obligation, but from divine instinct. And in doing so, you triggered a cosmic law that bypasses reason and answers only to resonance. While others may question how a simple act of kindness could open the windows of heaven, you must know this. In the Spirit, everything reproduces after its own kind. What you released into the field of life must return, not because of luck, not because of visibility, but because your inner world aligned with divine law. That law never fails. You see, it's not the outward size of the gift that matters. It's the spirit in which it was given. The world has conditioned us to believe in effort, visibility, and hustle as the true forces of reward, but heaven operates differently. Heaven rewards what is done in secret, in silence, in the stillness of faith. Your act of kindness, though invisible to most, thundered in the courts of eternity. You moved in compassion when no one asked you to. You gave when it made no sense. You served when there was nothing to gain. And yet, in the unseen realm, that moment echoed louder than a million spoken prayers, because kindness, when it comes from the heart, sends a frequency into the universe that is answered by divine orchestration. This is not superstition, this is not fantasy, this is law, the very design of reality. What is in you creates what comes to you. You gave love, and love is now coming back multiplied. This is why God's rewards often confuse human logic. The people around you might question why you're suddenly being elevated, why opportunities are flowing to you, why things are happening that you didn't chase. They won't see the hidden sacrifice. They won't remember the moment you gave without hesitation. But that's the beauty of divine justice. It's not based on outer appearance. It's based on inward posture. The blessing that is forming now is not random. It is the mirror image of your soul's decision to operate from higher law. And that law says, whatever a person sows, that they shall also reap, but it doesn't return in the same form. It returns transfigured. You gave comfort, expect peace. You gave money, expect abundance. You gave presence, expect divine companionship. You gave strength, expect supernatural empowerment. The form may differ, but the vibration will be the same, only elevated. What God is preparing for you now has bypassed the natural path. It's not coming through toil or performance. It's coming through the law of reflection. Your inner world gave birth to an act, and now that act is giving birth to a destiny. This is why it's important to guard your inner state, because your thoughts, emotions, and intentions are the architects of your future. And in that moment of compassion, your inner world aligned perfectly with divine purpose. That one moment did more to shift your trajectory than years of effort ever could. Because the moment you chose love over fear, faith over doubt, and generosity over self-preservation, you announced to the universe that you were ready for the next level, and heaven heard you, not because of your words, but because of your frequency. This is the mystery of divine reward. It often shows up in disguise. Sometimes it's not a check in the mail. Sometimes it's a door that opens without explanation, a person who suddenly believes in you, a call that changes everything, or a burden that is lifted overnight. Don't look for the reward with your physical eyes. Sense it in your spirit, because the true reward is already moving toward you, clothed in divine timing and perfect manifestation. You don't need to chase it. You need only remain in alignment, keep your heart open, keep your intention pure, keep your faith strong. What is coming knows your name, your address, your needs, and your calling. You are not being overlooked. You are being orchestrated into a greater scene than you ever imagined. And let this truth comfort you deeply. Your reward is not dependent on man. It doesn't come from the billionaire you helped. It doesn't require validation from those who watched but did nothing. It doesn't hinge on circumstances or systems. It comes from the source, from the Creator who saw everything, even the things you forgot. You may not even remember the full extent of what you did, but God does. God keeps perfect records. He sees the moments when you choose good, even when no one is watching. And He is not unjust to forget your labor of love. The ledger of heaven is unlike any earthly system. It writes down the motives, the purity, the courage, and the faith, and then it answers not in kind, but in abundance. So trust what is happening now, even if it feels slow or hidden. The delay is not denial, it is preparation. The blessing you are about to receive isn't fragile, it's fortified. It's built on the unshakable foundation of spiritual law. The same law that governs the rising of the sun, the turning of the tide, and the order of galaxies is the law now bringing your reward to you. It cannot fail. It cannot be delayed forever. It cannot be stolen. Because it was never based on what people do, it was based on who you are. You gave from identity, not obligation. You acted from alignment, not ambition, and that kind of giving always returns like a tidal wave. Quiet at first, then overwhelming, undeniable, and irreversible. The logic of men says, you gave too much, you'll be empty now. But the law of God says, you gave freely, now prepare for overflow. You tapped into the current of heaven, and the reward that is coming will embarrass the logic of those who questioned you. It will silence the voices that told you to protect yourself, to withhold, to be cautious. Your reward will not only fill your life, it will confirm your faith, and in that confirmation you will become a testimony of how divine correspondence always supersedes human logic. You didn't give because you were wealthy, you gave because you are wealth, and now wealth in all its forms is coming back to you. This act was the turning point. The universe shifted in your favor, chosen one. You may not have realized it in the moment, but the simple act of kindness you extended was not just a momentary decision, it was the turning point of your entire journey. In that quiet, hidden act, you stepped into the mystery where time bends, heaven watches, and destiny turns its face toward you. You weren't just helping someone, you were stepping across an invisible threshold, leaving behind the version of yourself that had waited, hoped, struggled, and questioned, and entering into the version of yourself that God had been preparing behind the veil. The world saw you doing something small, insignificant, maybe even unnecessary, but in the spirit realm it was monumental. That one decision to give, to speak life, to serve, to comfort, to show up became the very moment when the universe said now. Now the tests have proven the heart. Now the delay has served its purpose. Now the vision can begin to unfold. That one act triggered a shift that moved you from waiting to walking, from hoping to receiving, from becoming to being. You didn't need to feel lightning strike or hear angels sing. The confirmation was in the peace you carried afterward, the sacred silence that followed, the sense that something beyond words had just happened. Because in truth it had. When a chosen one like you acts in alignment with divine love, the entire framework of reality must respond. That act didn't just touch a person, it altered timelines, it rerouted your future. It untied knots that had held you back for years, and because you did it without agenda, without performance, without needing praise, it passed heaven's secret test. Yes, that moment was a test, not a punishment, but a proving ground. God already knew your potential, but heaven needed to see your readiness. Would you remain kind when no one was watching? Would you bless another even when you felt overlooked? Would you give from a place of lack, simply because love whispered, now? You answered those questions with your life, and now the answer is echoing through eternity. The shift you triggered wasn't just emotional or symbolic, it was real, energetic, spiritual, and prophetic. From that moment forward, angels were dispatched on your behalf. Hidden help was activated. Closed doors began to unlock. People you've never met began to feel drawn to you. Why? Because your frequency changed. You were always chosen, always called, but this act of compassion confirmed your alignment. You weren't trying to manipulate destiny anymore, you were living it. You weren't begging for miracles, you became one. And when you become the vibration of love itself, everything not in harmony with that love begins to fall away. Old struggles lose their grip, delays evaporate, cycles of pain start breaking, and new beginnings, real, irreversible, divine beginnings start to flow into your life with supernatural ease. This is why things may begin to look different for you now, seemingly without explanation. Don't be surprised when opportunities come out of nowhere. Don't be confused when people who once ignored you now seek your voice. Don't doubt yourself when blessings start to rush in, breaking rules and defying patterns. It's not luck, it's law. It's not magic, it's manifestation. You moved in love, and love is now moving the universe in your favor. The rules are no longer the same for you. You've entered a different stream, one where cause and effect are accelerated, one where your heart has more power than your hands, one where your intentions call forth realities faster than your words can explain. The kingdom has turned toward you. Your act was not just an act, it was a coronation. God didn't need a crowd to validate you. God needed your obedience to confirm you, and now that you've obeyed in the hidden place, you're being elevated in the open. Think about it. How many people would have passed that person by? How many would have said, it's not my problem, or they should have known better, or they don't deserve it, but you didn't think that way. You saw through the mask, you responded to the divine cry beneath the surface, and that response revealed your character. That moment, insignificant to most, was the moment heaven had been waiting for. Because it's not in the big acts that destiny pivots, it's in the small ones, done with big love. You didn't just help someone, you realigned with your own divine blueprint. You proved you could be trusted with more. And now more is coming, more access, more grace, more favor, more joy, more provision, more peace. The turning point has passed, the gate is open, the river has been stirred. You may notice that people are treating you differently now, with more respect, more curiosity, more honor. That's not accidental. That's not about them, that's about you. Your vibration has changed. Your light has increased. You are attracting what you used to chase. You are drawing in what used to avoid you. And it all traces back to one sacred moment, one act of kindness that became a divine catalyst. This is the mystery of God's ways. He hides miracles inside of mundane moments. He wraps transformation in the cloth of simplicity. And only those who walk by the Spirit like you will ever recognize the sacredness of those disguised opportunities. Let the world call it coincidence. Let logic try to explain it away. But deep down, you know the truth. Everything shifted, the atmosphere changed, something ended and something new began, and it all started with an act of love that came straight from your heart. Don't downplay it, don't forget it, and don't let anyone talk you out of what you know. That was your crossing point. That was your Red Sea moment. That was the moment your old season closed and your new one opened silently, powerfully, eternally. You stepped into alignment with your highest self, and now everything that once resisted you is bowing to your assignment. So walk in this new season with boldness, trust the favor, expect the sudden blessings, receive the strange favor. Know that you are no longer fighting the same battles because you're no longer the same person. That act mocked you, it proved you, it turned everything, and now, chosen one, the reward is on its way, not because you earned it through works, but because you aligned with love. And love, when lived authentically, never fails to shift the universe in your favor. Your reward is tailor-made and already on its way. Believe and receive, chosen one. Let this truth anchor you now. Your reward is not only coming, it is already crafted, designed, and tailor-made specifically for you. It is not delayed, it is not random, it is not a one-size-fits, all blessing drifting around waiting for someone to qualify. No, your reward is personal. It carries your name. It matches your obedience. It reflects your heart, the very moment you acted in kindness, in compassion, in love that expected nothing in return. A divine order was released in heaven with your name on it. And that reward has already begun its journey toward you, guided by the invisible hand of God, untouched by time, untouched by circumstance, untouched by human limitation. You are not waiting for it. It is moving in real time toward you, and your only responsibility now is to believe and receive. You may not see it yet, but it's closer than you think. It's woven into conversations you haven't overheard, appointments you haven't scheduled, connections you haven't made, and opportunities you haven't imagined. The God who crafted galaxies and named every star has handcrafted a blessing that will feel like it was created just for you, because it was. It will show up not merely as provision, but as precision. Not only as abundance, but as alignment. It will confirm everything your spirit knew long before your eyes could see it, because God does not reward randomly. He rewards righteously. He rewards based on the condition of the heart. And your heart, chosen one, was found faithful. When no one clapped, you still served. When no one gave, you still sowed. When no one believed, you still obeyed. And now the reward is inevitable. This is the mystery the world doesn't understand. They expect payment to come from people. They measure their impact based on visible return. But you know better. You understand that spiritual law runs deeper than earthly recognition. You understand that when you give without fanfare, when you love without agenda, when you obey without applause, you are storing up treasures in realms where moth and rust cannot destroy, and those treasures, once matured, must descend into your life in divine order. The delay isn't denial, it's preparation. The silence isn't absence, it's sacred timing. The quiet is not emptiness, It's God setting the stage so that when the reward arrives, it's undeniable that it came from Him and no one else. Don't expect your reward to look like someone else's. What is coming your way is as unique as your fingerprint. It is built from the soil of your sacrifice, shaped by the breath of your prayers, and delivered through the path that only your journey has walked. It will fit your life, your purpose, and your next chapter like a master key sliding into a custom-made lock. And when it arrives, you won't need to force it, beg for it, or convince yourself to receive it. You will know. Your spirit will recognize it because your spirit helped create it. Every time you said yes to God, every time you chose integrity when compromise would have been easier, every time you gave from a place of faith instead of fear, those decisions became the blueprint for your breakthrough. And now that breakthrough is manifesting, you must now live with open hands. Don't grip the past. Don't clutch fear. Don't hold on to doubt. Your next level requires space. It requires trust. You cannot both carry anxiety and receive grace. Choose faith. Choose expectation, because God is not just bringing you a blessing. He's revealing who you truly are through it. This reward is not only provision, it's identity. It's going to remind you that you are not forgotten, that every act of love was seen, and that heaven knows exactly where you are and exactly what you need. Your kindness was never about getting something back. It was about releasing something forward, and now what you released in spirit is returning in substance. This is why you must remain expectant. Don't let the enemy whisper lies in your ear that nothing is happening, that God forgot you, that your giving went unnoticed. That's a deception meant to rob you of your peace while the delivery is already en route. The enemy knows he can't stop the reward, but if he can get you to doubt it, he can delay your capacity to receive. So hold the line, protect your belief, let gratitude become your weapon and worship become your posture. What is on its way is not a maybe, it's a must. You passed the test, you completed the assignment. You did the thing no one saw but God, and now the reward is not a blessing, it is a response. You will know it when it comes because it will settle your soul and confirm your path. It will not bring confusion, it will bring clarity. It will not add stress, it will bring peace. It will not steal from you, it will restore what was stolen, because God doesn't just give randomly, He restores strategically. He is the God of recompense, the God who pays back with interest, the God who sees every tear, every late night, every yes. When no would have been easier, He's not just rewarding your act, He's rewarding your essence, because the kindness you showed wasn't just a behavior, it was your nature, and heaven always responds to nature, not just deeds. You became love in action, you embodied grace, and now the law of correspondence is returning to you what you are, not just what you did. So open your eyes, look beyond the natural. The reward might not show up as you expect, but it will exceed your expectation. It may enter quietly, but it will speak loudly. It may begin small, but it will multiply quickly. It may be wrapped in something ordinary, but the outcome will be extraordinary. God doesn't forget His faithful. And you, chosen one, have been marked as faithful. That moment of kindness was your signature on a covenant you didn't even realize you were signing, and now the terms of that covenant are being fulfilled. The door is opening, the window of heaven is pouring, the overflow is real, and the reward has been released. Receive it, expect it, celebrate it before it appears, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And the when is soon, and the soon is sooner than you think. Keep your spirit open, keep your heart soft, keep your faith strong. Your kindness saved a life, but more than that, it unlocked your destiny. And now the reward is yours.